Alright, picture this. Deep beneath the legendary Great Library of Alexandria, hidden away is a locked obsidian box. What's inside? Not gold, not jewels, but 7 ancient lines of wisdom, whispered to hold the secrets to bending the very fabric of reality. We're talking about influencing the physical world the way a master potter shapes wet clay. Sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, right? But here's the kicker. Napoleon's most brilliant generals, Edison's groundbreaking lab team, and even today's hyper-analytical hedge fund algorithm writers, they all, at some point, dipped into the same mysterious manuscript. It's called the Kybalion, and quietly shaping the minds of history's greatest achievers for centuries. Why was this knowledge so carefully guarded? What are these 7 laws, really? And perhaps most importantly, how can you start using them to transform your life right now, before your coffee even has a chance to get cold? Let's kick things off with the first law, a real mind-bender. The all is mind, the universe is mental. What does that even mean in plain English? Simply put, our entire reality, everything we perceive, experience, and interact with, isn't some solid, unchangeable brute fact. It's a shared dream, a vast, intricate mental construct. And here's where it gets wild. Your thoughts aren't just passive observers. They're the active paintbrush in this cosmic canvas. You're not just in the dream, you're helping to create it. Still skeptical? Think about this. Can you replay the last time you utterly ruined a Monday, not because of what actually happened, but because you spent all Sunday night and Monday morning picturing every potential disaster before you even left your bed? Your mental forecast became your reality, didn't it? Now, what if you could flip that switch? What if for just 60 seconds every night before you drift off, you vividly visualize tomorrow going smoothly, effortlessly, even joyfully? Studies in sports psychology, for instance, have shown that athletes who consistently visualize successful outcomes, like basketball players mentally rehearsing free throws, can see their actual performance jump by as much as 7% on average. That's not magic, that's mentalism in action, dressed in jeans and sneakers, proving that your mental state isn't just part of your reality, it's the fundamental blueprint. This principle suggests that your inner world isn't separate from your outer world. It's the very foundation upon which your outer world is built. It's about understanding that the all, the ultimate reality, is conscious. Therefore, everything within that reality, including you, is a fragment of that consciousness. When you grasp this, you realize you're not a victim of circumstances, you're a co-creator. You can consciously choose the thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you hold, and the mental images you project. By consistently directing your mind towards your desired outcomes, you are literally engaging with the fundamental operating system of the universe. It's a powerful invitation to take responsibility for your inner landscape, knowing that it's the fertile ground from which your external experiences sprout. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. This isn't some abstract poetic fancy. It's a profound declaration that patterns, structures, and laws echo across every single plane of existence. Think of it like a fractal. A tiny snowflake mirrors the intricate beauty of a vast mountain range. A spiral galaxy, with its majestic arms, looks remarkably similar to the swirling vortex of a hurricane, or even the way water drains from your bathtub. Why? Because the same underlying blueprint, the same fundamental forces are at play, simply scaling up or down. So how do we apply this game-changing idea to our daily lives? It's simple, yet often overlooked. If your physical desk is a chaotic mess of papers, forgotten coffee cups, and general disarray, what are the odds that your digital inbox isn't also overflowing, or that your diet isn't a bit all over the place, or even that your emotional state isn't feeling equally jumbled? The microcosm, your desk, reflects the macrocosm, other areas of your life. It's a direct correspondence. The beauty of this is that you don't need to tackle everything at once. Pick one corner. Tonight, clean just one small section of that desk, or organize one folder on your computer. You'll be amazed at the ripple effect. As if by magic, other areas of your life without much extra conscious effort will start to tidy themselves up. Why? Because you've shifted the pattern on one level. And that shift, thanks to correspondence, begins to resonate and align across other levels. It's about recognizing that what happens on the inside in your thoughts and feelings will manifest on the outside and vice versa. Your financial health might correspond to your self-worth. Your physical health might correspond to your emotional well-being. Understanding this allows you to diagnose problems and implement solutions with uncanny precision, knowing that a small adjustment in one area can create massive shifts across your entire existence. Now let's talk about something incredibly fundamental, the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This isn't just a cool scientific fact, it's a living, breathing reality that impacts every single moment of your life. Every atom, every thought, every emotion, every object, it's all humming at a specific frequency. Even what appears solid to our eyes is, at a subatomic level, a swirling dance of energy. Your thoughts aren't just invisible whispers in your head, they're measurable energy. When you think, your brain generates electrical activity, creating neural oscillations. These are literally thought vibrations. For instance, there's calm meditative states. They often correlate with alpha waves, vibrating around 10 Hz. Feeling anxious, stressed, or like he's had about 10 too many espressos, that's often beta waves, kicking up to 30 Hz or higher. You can literally feel the difference in these frequencies. Here's the powerful takeaway. You can't change a radio station by simply yelling at the speaker, can you? Of course not. You have to click the dial, tune into a different frequency. Your emotional and mental state works the same way. If you're stuck in a loop of complaining, worry, or negativity, you're broadcasting on a low, discordant frequency. But what if you consciously decided to swap that complaining for gratitude, just for 3 minutes? Close your eyes, think of 3 things you're genuinely thankful for, and really feel that gratitude. Science shows that even a brief gratitude practice can smooth your heart rate variability, a key indicator of your nervous system's balance. It's like your cells just switched from static-filled radio to crystal-clear stereo. You've consciously shifted your vibration, and in doing so, you begin to attract experiences and circumstances that resonate with that higher frequency. It's not woo-woo. It's physics applied to your emotional state. Every emotion has its own vibrational signature, and by consciously choosing your emotional state, you become the conductor of your own energetic symphony. Let's delve into the principle of polarity. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. At first glance, this might seem obvious. Hot and cold, light and dark, love and hate. But the Hermetic teaching goes deeper than just recognizing opposites. It tells us that these apparent opposites aren't truly separate entities. They're simply 2 extreme ends of the same thing, differing only in degree. Think of a thermometer. Hot and cold are just different points on the temperature scale. There isn't a hard break where cold stops and hot begins. It's a smooth, continuous spectrum. This insight is incredibly liberating, especially when it comes to our emotions. Take fear and excitement, for example. From a purely physiological standpoint, they often trigger identical responses in your body: increased heart rate, shallow breathing, a rush of cortisol and adrenaline. The physical sensations are almost indistinguishable. What makes one terrifying and the other exhilarating? The label you choose to put on it. Your interpretation decides whether you flee the roller coaster in panic or throw your hands up and scream with joy. This is where the power of polarity truly shines. The next time you feel those familiar nerves hitting you, that knot in your stomach before a big presentation, a job interview, or even a first date, instead of labeling it fear and letting it paralyze you, try this. Tell yourself, my body is preparing for peak performance. Say it with conviction. My body is getting ready to excel. You'll often find that the physical sensations remain, but the meaning shifts, and suddenly that nervous energy transforms into focused anticipation. You're not eliminating the negative pole. You're consciously swinging your perception along the spectrum towards the positive pole. This isn't about denial, it's about transmutation. It's knowing that every challenge contains the seed of an opportunity, every weakness a potential strength. By mastering polarity, you gain the ability to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs with greater wisdom and control, understanding that what seems like an obstacle is simply another facet of the same energy that can drive you forward. Five, rhythm. The fifth principle, rhythm, is all about the flow of life. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides, all things rise and fall. Just like the ocean has its tides, the moon its phases, and the seasons their relentless cycle, so too does everything in the universe, including your own life, operate on a rhythmic pendulum swing. There are periods of expansion and contraction, activity and rest, creation and dissolution. After a massive creative launch, there will inevitably come a lull. After the abundance of summer, winter brings a time of dormancy. The most common mistake we make is fighting this natural rhythm. It's like standing on the beach and shouting at the tide to stop coming in or going out. It's utterly futile and only leads to exhaustion and frustration. When you're in a low period, perhaps feeling less motivated, less productive, or just generally drained, it's easy to beat yourself up, to think you're failing. But what if you understood this was simply the pendulum swinging back, a necessary period of integration and restoration? Instead of resisting, learn to surf these waves. If you've just pushed hard on a big project, delivered a major presentation, or gone through an intense period of growth, consciously schedule rest. Build in recovery time. Recognize that you're not failing, you're simply allowing the natural rhythm to do its work. This principle teaches us resilience and patience. It reminds us that every end is a new beginning, and every downturn contains the potential for an upturn. By aligning with these natural cycles, rather than fighting them, you conserve energy, reduce stress, and ultimately achieve more sustainable progress. Embrace the ebb, because the flow is always coming back around. Tackle one that often feels like fate, but is actually pure mechanics: the principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. This isn't about blind destiny. It's about impeccable cosmic accounting. Nothing, absolutely nothing, happens by chance. What we perceive as luck or bad breaks is simply an effect whose cause we haven't yet traced, or perhaps haven't been willing to acknowledge. This principle is a call to radical personal responsibility. It tells us that for every outcome in our lives, whether you like it or not, there was an originating cause, a preceding action, thought, or decision. Want to prove it to yourself? Take a moment. Think of the last 5 bad breaks you've experienced. Those moments where things just didn't go your way or felt unfair. Now, For each one, list the 3 tiny, often seemingly insignificant decisions or actions you took that led up to it. Maybe it was hitting snooze one too many times, leading to rushing, leading to forgetting something crucial. Or perhaps it was an unaddressed resentment that festered and finally exploded. You'll be astounded at what you uncover. You'll start spotting your own personal blind spots faster than any horoscope could ever predict. You'll see patterns in your own behavior, your own choices, that consistently lead to certain effects. The power here is immense. Once you identify the causes, you can change them. You are not a pawn in some random game. You are an active player, capable of influencing the outcome by consciously choosing your causes. Own the cause, and you claim the effect. This isn't about blame, it's about empowerment. It's about recognizing your agency in a universe that is far more ordered and logical than it often appears. When you understand that your thoughts, words, and actions are all causes, you become incredibly intentional about what you put out into the world, knowing it will inevitably return to you as an effect. Finally, we arrive at the principle of gender. And let's be crystal clear right from the start. This has absolutely nothing to do with biological sex. Instead, it speaks to the fundamental masculine and feminine energies that exist in everything, on all planes of existence, physical, mental, and spiritual. Masculine energy is often associated with the doing aspect, action, assertion, direction, focus, logic, and outward projection. Feminine energy, on the other hand, is about receiving, intuition, receptivity, nurturing, creativity, introspection, and open flow. Creation, in its purest form, needs both. One cannot exist without the other, and true harmony comes from their balance. Think about any creative project you've ever undertaken, whether it's writing a book, building a business, or even planning a garden. If you're stuck, feeling blocked, or just churning without progress, it's often because you're overemphasizing one energy at the expense of the other. You might be all masculine energy, brute-forcing solutions, pushing relentlessly, analyzing every detail to death. While focus is great, too much can lead to rigidity and burnout. Here's a practical application. If you're staring at a blank page or a complex problem, try alternating. Engage in 25 minutes of focused, masculine output, active writing, brainstorming, problem solving. Then, for 5 minutes, shift into feminine receptivity. Lean back, close your eyes, let your mind wander, doodle, or just stare out the window. Don't try to do anything, just be open. You'll often find that the most brilliant, elegant ideas, the solutions that brute force couldn't kick down, arrive precisely in that receptive, open window. It's about creating space for intuition to speak, for inspiration to flow in. This principle teaches us that true power lies not in being exclusively assertive or exclusively receptive, but in the dynamic dance between the two. By consciously cultivating and balancing these energies within ourselves, we unlock a far greater capacity for creativity, problem solving, and harmonious living. It's about being both the architect and the muse of your own life. So, there you have it. These 7 Hermetic laws aren't just dusty aphorisms from some forgotten book. They're not quaint philosophical notions. They are, quite literally, the open source code of the universe, the fundamental operating instructions for reality itself. And the most incredible part? They're yours to use. When you start running these laws like a daily stack, consciously applying mentalism to your thoughts, recognizing correspondence in your patterns, tuning your vibration, transmuting polarity, surfing the rhythm, owning cause and effect, and balancing gender energies, something profound happens. You stop being a passenger, simply reacting to whatever reality throws your way. You stop becoming the architect. You start scripting your own experience.